Unit 8, Day 2, trig ratios. What is trigonometry? It's the study of right triangles and triangle measurements. So what we're going to do for each of these, we are going to follow these steps. We're going to stand at an angle. We're going to label the triangle HOA. That's hypotenuse, opposite side, and adjacent side. And then we're going to set up a ratio. So we're going to stand, label, and set up. For now, what we're going to do is we're going to draw a stick figure to represent our angle of perspective. So we're going to label the parts based on where our stick figure is. And then we're going to set up a ratio. So here's our first one. Sine. Sine is the ratio of the opposite side to the hypotenuse. So here it says sine of A. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand at angle A. So here's my stick figure. I'm already standing at angle A. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to label the sides. We're going to label the sides from the stick figure. So here's my stick figure. Here's the hypotenuse. Here's the adjacent side. And the side that's furthest away from me is the opposite side. So I have my triangle labeled. Let's just practice the labeling the triangle. Again, here is my stick figure right here. Here is my hypotenuse. It is always across from the right angle. Here are the legs of my triangle. It makes up the L. So where my stick figure is, if I start to make my L, the beginning of my L from my stick figure is adjacent. And then the other part of my L, which is far away from where I'm standing, is going to be my O. So we're going to name our triangle all the time H, O, and A. So here we go. The sine of A, from where I'm standing up here, opposite A is going to be little a. So I wrote this here, little a. And the hypotenuse in this triangle is C. So the ratio is A over C. Now you try sine of B. You're going to go and have to erase the markings you made from sine of A because you will not be standing at A. Now you're going to be standing at angle B. When you put your stick figure at angle B and you labeled the triangle, this is still the hypotenuse, but now this is your adjacent side and this is your opposite side. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So now your new ratio is B over C. Let's try it with cosine of A and see what we get. So I labeled my triangle H, O, and A. Cosine is adjacent. It's at the top over hypotenuse. So my adjacent over hypotenuse in this case is represented by little b and C. So the ratio is B over C. You try cosine of B and erase the markings and put your stick figure at angle B. And the ratio is A over C. So for tan of A, we look at the top and tangent is opposite over adjacent. So I'm going to stand at A. Here's my stick figure standing at A. Label my triangle, H hypotenuse, opposite over here and adjacent here. Tangent is O over A. So let's see what's opposite from where I'm standing. Little a. What is adjacent from where I'm standing? B. So tangent of A is equal to A over B. You try tangent of B. So here we go. Stick figure is at B. Opposite over adjacent is my tangent ratio, and so that is B over A. Now what we need to do is just remember what the ratios are for sine, cosine, and tangent. Sine is O over H, cosine is A over H, and tangent is O over A. We could remember it by saying SOHCAHTOA, SOHCAHTOA. So let's practice the ratios. Sine of A, we're going to stand at A. So here I am, standing at A. And I'm going to set up my triangle. This is hypotenuse, this is opposite, this is adjacent. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So this is going to be 5 over 13. So let me just write this out. SOHCAHTOA. So now I am cosine of A. So what I need to do is I need to do adjacent over hypotenuse. So that's 12 over 13. I did not need to change my stick person because I'm still standing at angle A. Tangent of A, tangent is O over A. So that is 5 over 12. Now you need to do sine of C. So you can copy the triangle over and stand at C and give me the ratios. Voila, here we are. Let's try sine of W. The angle is always where we put our stick person. So I'm going to come over here at W and put my stick person. I'm going to label this triangle while I have adjacent next to me, opposite far away, and here is my hypotenuse. So sine of W is O over H. Oh my goodness, I don't have an H. So what I have to do is Pythagorean's theorem. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And let's see what we get. I find out that C is equal to 15. So I'm going to come up here and write that as my hypotenuse. So now I have enough information to fill in the sine of W. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. That would be 12 over 15, but that's not simplified. When I simplify that, it reduces to 4/5. Next, cosine of W. Cosine of W, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so that's 9 over 15. Simplified, that's 3/5. Tan of W, SOHCAHTOA, so that is opposite over adjacent, so that's 12 over 9. So I go ahead and write that in, 12 over 9, and then I have to simplify that, and that is 4 over 3. We are going to do the same thing here for the sine of X. However, we have to stand at X. So what you need to do is come back here and erase your stick man and erase your adjacent and opposite and relabel your triangle. So I didn't want to recopy the triangle. I do know that I need to stand at X. So here's my new blue stick person at X. Relabel my triangle. Now 12 is adjacent to me and now 9 is opposite. So when I get ready to write in sine, which is opposite over hypotenuse, this is now 9 over 15, which simplifies to 3/5. Cosine is going to be adjacent over hypotenuse, which is 12 over 15, which simplifies to 4/5. Tangent from X is now going to be 9 over 12, which simplifies to 3 over 4. So this is just setting up the ratios to get us ready to actually solve when we have real numbers and numbers for the angles. Finding missing sides. So finding missing sides with trig ratios, first we want to make sure your calculator is in degree mode. So you go to mode and just scroll down till you see degree. So we're going to solve for X and we're going to round to the nearest tenth. So we're going to do the same steps. We're going to stand, we're going to label, we're going to set up, but this time we're adding a step we need to solve. So here we go. This is me standing. From where I'm standing, I have labeled the triangle. Hypotenuse, opposite and adjacent. This is my angle. So this is going to be on one side of the equal sign, and these are my sides. They're going to be on the other side when I set up my equation. Okay, so it's going to look like this. The sine, because I'm using opposite and hypotenuse. So at the top, you can see sine uses opposite and hypotenuse. So I am putting my angle here, 28, sine of 28 is equal to opposite, which is x, over hypotenuse, which is 19. So I have my ratio. So I have my person. So I stand, I label, I set up. So this is my setup, and then I'm ready to solve. Let's change the sign of 28 into a decimal. We'll carry it out 4 decimal places. Once we get a decimal, we're going to cross, multiply, and solve for x. And we get x is equal to 8.9. You try number 2. Stand, label, set up, and solve. First things first, I'm going to stand at the acute angle that they gave me, which is 41. I'm going to label the sides that are given, which are opposite and adjacent. I'm going to figure out which trig ratio I should use. So O and A is tangent. So I'm going to use tangent to actually set this up. So here we go. Tangent of the angle where I'm standing, which is 41. Tangent ratio is opposite, which is x, over adjacent, which is 32. I am going to set this up as a proportion. I'm going to change tangent of 41 into a decimal, and it gives me 0.8692 from the calculator. Then I'm going to cross multiply. And I get x is equal to 27.8. Number 6, stand, label, set up, and solve. Standing at the angle 43 degrees. Label the sides that are given, which are adjacent and hypotenuse. I have A and H. So A and H is going to be cosine. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up using cosine. So cosine of 43 is equal to, and I'm going to write it as a ratio, A, 36 over X. I'm going to change cosine of 43 into a decimal. I am going to cross multiply. I get 0.7313x equals 36, and I'm going to divide both sides by 0.7313. And x is equal to 49.2. Let's take a look at the word problem. Jake leaned a 12-foot ladder against the house. The angle formed by the ladder and the ground, 68 degrees. How far from the base of the house did he place the ladder? So here's the picture. Here's the ladder leaning against the house. Here's the angle with the ground. How far from the house? So we're going to do our stand, label, set up, and solve. So from where I'm standing, I have adjacent and hypotenuse. So sol, ka, toa, that's going to be cosine. Cosine, the angle goes on one side of the equation, and the sides as a ratio go on the other. So it's going to be x and 12. We're going to change cosine of 68 into a decimal, and let's see what we get. X is equal to 4.5 feet. And that concludes our lesson on trig.